Hello, this is Peter Rivera-Concannon for Invoice 4. So I've already loaded the terminal and the web page on the browser, and also the product_data.js and the invoice copy from Invoice 3 and the product data from the smartphone products 3. So starting off, just deleting that part of that comment. And then basically, instead of having that data below the product data, I'm going to link this HTML doc to the product_data or products_data.js file, so that all the all the JavaScript I wrote down below in this HTML document will be referenced back to and get all its data, its values from when the variables or functions are called from product_data.js. Not functions, just variables. And so here I'm starting the script search equals product_data.js. Now this is going to bite me later on. It took me a while actually to notice it but I forgot the S there in products, and later on I was confused, like, oh, why it's not working, blah blah blah, and that was because there's no S there. It's the small things that I always forget. So now I am defining an array called quantities, and then I'm going to initialize it with some example product quantities of just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just the quantities that all the data from products_data.js will have with the array order. So 0 in the product_data array would be 1. The first array spot 1 would be 2, and so on and so forth. Here I am I'm editing this for loop, so instead of using the old ways of calling what was already in here, the variable before that I deleted, I'm going to make it so it goes through the array. And so for as long as, so this for loop initializes I as 0, and then for as long as the products of I, and it returns the price, and then you add I each one, and then it'll execute the code within it, which of course is just calculating the extended price and the subtotal, and then the document write out for the natural information, and then a table. And so here now I'm calling the quantities array instead of the products array within the products_data.js, because of course I want the quantity instead of what's in products_data.js. Refreshing the page, checking everything works and everything, Here I need to change these, of course, to not use the evaluate anymore, but just straight call the products array. And that's up the brand, the products array. The next one's just the quantity, so on and so forth. The price, the products, square bracket I, and square bracket dot price, the next one, and the next price is the same, of course. So right here I realized that I was missing the S in products underscore data.js, or sort of, there we go. Yeah, so right here I took me some time to figure out why I wasn't loading anything. I was like, why can't I figure it out? But I was like, okay, it must be a small issue, like usual. So I'm just gonna try to do my best on the rest of the code and then look back at it. I know it's not recommended probably to do this, but I just wanted to get the rest of it done because I knew how to do the rest easily. I didn't want to waste all my time looking for this if I could possibly see it in the future. I went on the console on the web page and everything, and it just wasn't. It said a lot of stuff wasn't up to find, but of course, she's going to go forward with it, and I'm going to create a function within the HTML doc. And this one would be to generate item rows. So just generate rows for each item, and this would be better than using. I think this function will be used to call instead of um, possibly in the future having to repeat that for loop. You can just call this function again or reuse this function again. But of course, all we're going to do is just copy that for loop into this function. So yeah, of course, getting rid of that array because we don't need that, of course. And now here I'm going to do what I said before and just copy and paste the for loop and put it into the function tag in the parameter and make sure it's properly formatted. Click check. And now here I am changing wherever it calls the quantities array, changing it to the product underscore quantities underscore array. Instead, so here just calling the function, the generate items rows, and using the quantities value. Sorry. This loop should produce all the rows of the item in the table. And so then I'll enter the call function and I use the quantities as the parameter. So it creates that many. And I made sure to leave subtotal down there so it initializes separately. Here's make sure it works on the web page. Of course, still having problems due to my the product.js not working, but I know that this part worked at least because it still was generating things. I knew that code was not the real issue because it just wasn't defined somewhere. So. And now within this for loop, I'm going to create an if statement. And using product quantities array underscore array as the parameter. And whenever that is equal to 0, if that happens, we're going to make sure that it skips calculating the extended price and stuff and just prints a 0 as the table row. So now I open up level 11 and copying the, well, what's called for you, then the instruction is not negative, is non-negative integer. I did check if negative. I don't know why it should be checked if non-negative, but change that in the future. That's probably a bad name for this function. So here, just pasting it in under the table, so this will just be using the HTML as just, function, and then I can call it later on. So here, just making sure that everything looks correct and such. So here, it's that basically I'm now making the if statement being if the product underscore quantities underscore array is equal to 0, or if it is a negative or not an integer, that it will continue. So if that value for products underscore quantities underscore array is a negative or non-integer, then it will just skip the calculating the extended price and leave it blank as a 0. Leave it blank, actually. So right there, I just changed the variables up to check if it realizes that things, and those parts showed up, of course, but certain things didn't due to what my top code said. But all the numbers were working, so I knew this worked. So here I just made the errors made equal to check if negative, and use the product underscore quantities underscore array as the parameter, and I want to make it return as true, so it'll display the value, or display what's happening. Within the whatever returns from the check if negative. Yeah, realizing now that name isn't probably good. And here, just going to call it for when the document write is executed. So basically, I just separated that this errors check from the if statement, so uh, this happens no matter what, instead of just as things. And I'm using the join tag so we can separate one string from others, as well as using the line breaks so that will be under the value as shown. And now the next thing I'm going to do is for this text, I'm going to have it come out as red so it's more noticeable within the invoice. So I use the font tags, and I actually put the closed arrow within that, fixed right there. And then just had to finish off with the closing tag. Make sure I have that slash. And once that, it should print out as red. And it does. So here, just making now another if statement. So if the errors.length is equal to 0, then it'll just do the normal thing, because that shows that there's no errors occurring. And then, so basically, if the error thing happens is that, and then if anything, if besides, so if errors.length is not 0, then the extended price will be set to a value of just nothing, and this is to avoid messing up the subsequent invoice calculations of for the rest of the invoice. And of course, you're saving it, load it up in the web page. And of course, I didn't realize that. No, I did fix it. Yes, I had fixed it by then, as I had added the S2 product_data.js. That saved a lot of time for me fixing that. And this was also, I forgot to state earlier, I had one major issue with this WOD, is that it's saying it wasn't, certain things were not defined, but it wasn't anything that I changed within this HTML doc. I think, no, besides that row, the row 60 there, it's within the console. It said that it was an error on the web page. No, it wasn't defined. I think I'm going to soon go to the other ones that showed that. So they were saying that this price was undefined. I couldn't figure out why. But everything still worked besides the bottom part because of this stuff not working. It never, apparently toFixed was never defined. I don't know why that was an error. It never gave me a way to fix that. I couldn't figure out in time, but I'm guessing it was just a glitch in the system for a bit. They were saying that shipping wasn't defined as well, but I realized that it wasn't that row. It was row 92, the one below it. It was that shipping dot toFixed as well, and as well as the total dot toFixed. So those were my issues, but I still finished the WOD with time of around, let's say, 29 minutes, give or take. Yeah, thank you very much.